plaintiff, Raven DILES, became friends with the defendant when they worked together. But she now claims the defendant is a crack addict. Raven is suing because she says after the defendant brought a random man back to her apartment, they set her kitchen on fire while cooking meth. Defendant Marcus Sanford denies that he uses drugs and says Raven is the one who acts like a crackhead. Marcus insists he was cooking fries when Raven's kitchen caught on fire, and he's countersuing for defamation and harassment.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
All right, start with you.
All right, so I met Marcus maybe about 2 years ago, about January of 2018. We were former co-workers, and we hit it off. We both like to party, go out, and have a good time. That's how we became friends. Marcus is a known person to smoke crack cocaine.
That's a lie.
He one time took me, we went to St. Louis, and he took me to a place where he called the Mini Mansion. And we were supposed to go over there and smoke some weed. But in the midst of us smoking weed, he bust out like, oh, we smoke Primos over here. And I'm like, well, what's a Primo? You know,
Right,
and he's like,
Primo?
it's got crack in it.
Right, weed laced with crack.
Exactly. So, you know, I'm looking around. I look up after he says that. We're not in a mini mansion, Your Honor. We're in a crack house, and I'm cracked out. And I'm cracked out by my friend, my best friend. So.
To get high, it seems like a mansion.
Right.
Go ahead.
So, you know, whatever. I let that go by. Marcus likes, you know, we go out and he get drunk and aggressive and mouthy. I let that slide too, the aggressive and the mouthy. You know, Marcus likes to meet random guys on these websites he likes to get on, and he immediately brings them to where he's laying his head to have sex with them, which is like the whole reason of why we're here today. Marcus met a random man, brought that man to my apartment, and they burnt my kitchen down together, doing whatever it was they were doing.
Wow.
So about April.
They had a crock pot?
It was a regular pot. I got the picture of it.
Oh, so it wasn't crack?
Whatever it was.
Okay.
Page 5. I gave you my evidence, Your Honor. I think you should have that.
They cooked crack in the
Page
crock
5.
pot.
He said, well, let him tell it. It was meth.
Well, that's why they call it crock, crystal meth and crack.
Oh,
It's
there
crock.
you go. See, I didn't even know that.
Crock pot.
All right,
My mother used to cook greens and what they call it, beef ribs. Yeah. Now they cook crack and meth. Wow.
Yeah.
Let me get some background from you, sir, and then we'll get to
Well, like Raven
specifics.
stated, I am. We were friends. We met at the job. Raven is also known to be a thief. When we went out before, we had a mutual friend, and we just all ended up getting intoxicated. She stole money from her friend. You know, if that's your friend, you wouldn't steal money from them, whether they're drunk, high, or whatever. You wouldn't steal money from your friend.
You don't do any of that? Have you never done any of that?
No, sir. That's all.
And you're on crack.
Work.
So she got to be on
what
work.
she
She
says,
not even on crack, and she's stealing.
That part.
Now, that's bad.
So
at least you have a reason when you steal.
Right. Well.
Go ahead. Right.
Well, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Right. Well, Your Honor. So, me and Raven, I took that big brother role in her life because she's not really a person to have like a backbone. She doesn't really speak up for herself nor defend herself. So when we first met, I did take that big brother role in her life because I am, you know, not to be played with, as she stated, you know, I am mouthy and I can back it up. So I took every time we would go out, we would get into mess and stuff like that. And you just get tired of that same repeated behavior. And Your Honor, we're mostly here because I think it's more so because I cut her off of my life. Like I said, I invited her to come. I have recently got proposed to at May 22nd. So I decided to, thank you. I decided to invite her to just my little gatherings because I was going to also propose to my husband as well. Mm-hmm. So I wanted her to be there. I reached out to her.
Once one person does it, you're engaged.
This is 2020, Your Honor. It's
so
new.
Both people
mixing it up, making
now.
it new.
All right.
No, this is nothing ordinary. This is not mean.
Okay. Okay,
is
I
me.
got it.
I invited her to be there because I wanted to propose to him as well, and I just felt like if you were really a true friend of mine, you would be there for moments like that. So, and this was all after the fire, man. I make that known too.
After the what?
This is all after the fire, man. I make that known too. We
got
celebrated
it.
Easter together. We had a party together, so it was never a problem, to be honest. So, after the fact of me inviting her, she stood me up, left me on red, like didn't answer my messages, stopped ignoring my phone calls. After me picking her up to be there at the party, she left, Okay.
All those are crackhead moves. She's stealing. She's not answering the phone. Major occasion, in and out all the time.
Your Honor, from that moment, I was just like, I don't
smoking?
have.
No.
I was like,
I'm not going to even entertain.
I was like, I just don't have time to, have people that I invest so much love in to not even be there for me for that moment. So I just cut her out of my life, period, from that moment. You don't want to be there for that. Don't be in my life at all. That's just how I felt. So I let her go from Facebook, let her go from Snapchat, let her go from Instagram, every media. No need to watch me move on.
I use my personal life as an example to reinforce to viewers and to reinforce what litigants are saying. One of my biggest regrets. I ended perhaps one of the most special childhood friendships I had. Saw them every day, all my life, probably up until 16. I was booked to be in the wedding, and no call, no show for a particular reason, but wasn't getting high though.
Well, I still got my main 10 friends.
Yeah,
for 10 years on.
I lost that friendship and the family.
And that's
one of the biggest regrets. Yeah, so that's the folks who are watching. That's the risk you take when you come playing with folks' wedding, those very, very special days. Why didn't you go to the engagement functions?
He burnt my house down. I was not.
That day?
Around the time. I was not happy with him. I wasn't happy.
How long had it been?
It had been like a month. And I had to speak with him about anything. He just invited me to this.
My buddy didn't burn my house down.
Okay, he burned my house down.
Well, even after the house fire, we celebrated Easter together. And that's literally April 5th was the fire. Easter was a little bit 2 weeks around the corner. We celebrated Easter together, had a barbecue. We literally were still friends.
We had multiple friends.
I cut her off on May 24th when I was sitting there proposing to my husband. It was more of a build up, and I was just at a different level in life. When God elevates you, he also dismisses. So hey, that's just what I take that as.
All right, and tell me about the lawsuit. You've shown me pictures.
Okay, so
And you say this was what? What happened?
Well, I was cooking some French fries and fell asleep, and boom, the stove caught on fire. It's a grease fire.
Nothing French about this, Doc. This is just what it looked like. A mixture of crack and crystal meth.
Is that what she
cooked up?
Oh no, it looked like a science lab if it was some math or something being cooked.
Well, it's burned up. It may have looked like one before, but it's burned up.
It would have blew up, not burned up.
It did blow up.
All right, he says French fries. When you ask about him paying for your property, what has he said?
He hasn't said anything.
What did he say after it all happened?
After it all happened, he agreed with my landlord that he would pay for the damages.
That's why I have a promising note.
And
with her?
No, with the property manager, because all I messed up was the stove and the cabinets, and that was it. Even not to no food, not to nothing else in the house. Nothing else was damaged besides the stove, because the fire wasn't that big to even go to the next apartment. And
that is all I see, ma'am, is stove and cabinets.
And I have personal property that was damaged due to smoke damage, water damage.
And I was there at her house.
There is groceries in there. I didn't get to use any of that.
I paid for those groceries as well with my link card.
Everything was taken out of this apartment after this fire, including myself. I paid for majority of that stuff. I had to move out of my apartment. I had to clean it. Marcus wasn't there to help do any of that.
But I helped you wash your clothes.
He blew my apartment up, Your Honor, doing whatever it was he was doing.
That's how I know nothing was damaged, because I was there helping her wash her clothes.
He didn't help me wash my clothes.
If they were damaged, Your Honor, she wouldn't wear them.
No.
And I also took her shopping, not to the fact that she couldn't get to her clothes, Your Honor. It was to the fact because I did feel bad for starting a fire in her house. Not that she couldn't get to it or anything, but you had to lock up the house. And I locked up the house because I had the key. But I took her shopping literally 2 days before. I spent about $300 at her to get bras, socks, uniforms, because we do work as a nursing home. So I did buy her scrubs.
bought
But
me
not
a
to the
uniform,
fact to get
panties,
it
and
destroyed,
socks.
jackets and all. Not to the fact that her stuff was destroyed because she couldn't get to it at that point. And that's the only reason I went out and bought stuff under limb anyway and still put myself in a hotel room. Because I took care of this girl as if, you know, she was my sister. But after so many habits and so many things, you don't want to be tied with that. I'm more, like I said, I'm elevating in life. I got great things happening for me. And I just don't have time for the same repeated behavior from people. To blame their faults on their alcohol behavior and
So it
stuff
was
like
my
that.
fault that you
It
burned
gets
my house
over.
down. Is
It
that what
just
you're
gets
saying?
old. I did what I was supposed to do after that fire, taking full responsibility with the promising note and along that nature, and also taking her shopping, Your Honor. And if she felt the need that if she needed anything else, she should have got it in a shopping trip. Like, dang, I'll take you shopping.
He took me to Walmart. He got me a couple pairs of panties. He got me some socks.
Why would you not
He got
ask
me
for
a
everything
work
after
uniform.
that?
And it was still kind of cold, rainy. He got me a little jacket.
I said nothing else got destroyed but that simple Walmart pot that you see on the stove, and that was about
I
it.
still
And them
paid
cheap
my money
blinds
for
that the
Walmart
apartment put
part.
up in there because they just
I still paid my money
melted.
for all that stuff.
right.
I still paid my money. My personal properties, all of that I paid for.
You have a list and evidence that
Yes,
you can
do.
direct
I have
me
a list
to?
of pots and pans, groceries, dishes, my work clothes,
this is the
towels,
list.
jeans, shirts. I have it on page 1.
How were your work clothes damaged?
From water and smoke damage.
Okay.
No water
After
damage.
yes, it was. After trying to wash everything, I lost everything.
Yep, I
That's
agree.
what happens over the time.
So
Me
2
and
months
Marcus never
later.
ever got to sit down and discuss anything because I missed this engagement. So he blocked me
Easter.
and stopped me from calling. Skip Easter. I don't even remember that.
It was
We
a
have lot
barbecue.
of
We was at
And
mutual-
the
your house.
engagement was a month later. He should have worked something out for
Exactly.
you between
Like,
before
Easter.
a month.
there was never a time when we could sit
Easter
down and
was 2
discuss
weeks later.
my personal
You
issues.
can afford a
Marcus-
ring. Did you give your fiance a ring?
Yeah, he did.
But
Oh,
not
so you
before I
can
took care of
afford a
her.
ring. You can afford a ring,
Not
but
before
you
I took
can't
care.
afford
Not
to
before I
repair
took
this
care of
woman's
her.
stuff.
Not before I took care of her. I took care of her in
Getting
April.
smoked up.
The fire was in April.
$300. He took me to Walmart and he did buy me some $9.99 panties, some $9.99 socks, and he definitely bought
I
me a
spent
$15 work
$300.
uniform. Talking about $300. That's a whole lie. When it all boils down to it, he blew my kitchen up doing whatever it was he was doing. It's $1,000 worth of my personal property that I purchased that he needs to pay back
I'm gonna
for.
take care of you, but you were talking about what he was doing. Wasn't no French
You didn't
fries.
It
purchase
wasn't
any
no
of
French
that.
fries. And that's what he said it was.
I bought all that
It
food.
wasn't French fries.
Wasn't
And
this
his
what
first
you do?
story, Your Honor, when
Don't
he,
look at him shaking.
he changed that story.
Not at all.
He gave me,
I'm okay.
he gave me the real story, and then he
What is the
flipped
real
it.
What was the
story?
real
The
story?
story was this. The house is up in flames. I said, well, how did it catch up in flames, Marcus? He said, I don't know. This guy I had over, we were cooking meth. I don't know why he wouldn't
A
wake
lie.
me up.
You just
I don't know
so
why he would
creative,
wake
girl.
me up when the crib caught on fire.
You are so creative.
I went and told my family, and they went over there to the scene because I was in Memphis, Tennessee when all this was going on. Marcus gets back on the phone, calls me on speakerphone, and says, I didn't tell you that. I told you I burnt your crib down cooking French fries. No, you didn't. And these pictures prove it was blown up.
It wasn't blown up.
Whatever you were doing,
If it was
wasn't
blown up,
French
your next
fries.
apartment would have been blown up as well.
What's your counterclaim for? 2,000.
My claim is for definition of character and as well as also harassment, Your Honor. That's why I'm claiming her. And I say definition of
The
character.
definition of character is somebody who will pay their bills when they burn somebody's house out.
And that's why I
the
gotta promise you
definition
no.
of
And that's
now.
why I
If you
gotta
want
promise you no.
defamation,
Defamation of character,
all
yes,
right.
Your Honor. I'm sorry,
The definition is not you.
I'm sorry, but
I know what the
defamation.
definition is, and so far
I
it's
said
not you.
defamation. My words
All right.
slur sometimes. But defamation of character, Your Honor.
And by the way, I make grammatical mistakes all the time. So
We all do, even educated
fair
people
game
can too.
for me. Go ahead.
Well, Your Honor, after the incident, that happened all the way in April 5th, she proceeded to make Facebook statuses about me, as you can see on page 4. I also have a voicemail of her stating that as well. If you look on page 3, and we can play that anytime that you guys are ready on page 3.
So if anybody talks to Marcus, let his aide know my payment for him burning my house down was due a week ago.
That's a fact.
And I already made the payment.
She was just giving public notice to find you. She thought something was wrong.
This was June.
She thought something had happened to you.
But I'm making payments. But I'm making payments. I'm making payments. My payment was already
You
made
should
before
answer
the
the phone and
status.
tell me you were
But
making
if she
payments. I
found
would have
out-
never posted the status.
Whenever somebody say, if anybody talk, that mean they're concerned.
No, she wasn't concerned, Your Honor. And when you listen to the voicemail, you can see how concerned she
All right,
was.
let's hear the voice.
Let's play the voicemail.
You burnt my house down, smoking meth, crack, whatever the it was, so doing. And I'm gonna put all your business out. I was your friend, and you got me up. You want hands up in my face? You want Rocky to beat me like I ain't and you burnt my house down. And you have yet to pay me things. I ain't dealing with this, which is why I constantly call. As a matter of fact, you're gonna pay he knows. You're gonna pay my landlord. I'm taking you to court, and your husband, he's gonna know what's real.
And as you can see, she said, I don't even have to pay her, I have to pay the landlord, and that's what I've been doing.
What about her property? Because she's absolutely right. All of that smoke damage stuff, everything she said is absolutely right.
And that's a lie when she said I'm not making payments for something when I am making payments.
Not to her. You're making payment to the landlord. That's her personal property.
Why didn't this come out?
You do owe her. You owe her $2,000. That's the judgment. Your claim is dismissed. All right. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Good constructive criticism.
I hope she just keep moving forward in her life and just keep pushing and leave me alone and stop popping up at my husband's job and all types of crazy stuff. Yeah, you were just there yesterday, so.